What's going on everyone? Let's start this off by preheating our oven to 180 degrees Celsius or 350 degrees Fahrenheit. Grab yourself one whole bulb of garlic, place it in some aluminium foil and wrap it up nice and tight. We're going to roast this in our oven for 40 minutes to create the most amazing squeezable roasted garlic that makes everything taste so good. Remove both ends from one medium-sized brown onion. Slice it in half. Then remove the skin and yep, you know it, save it for a stock. Slice the onion into quarters. Rotate at 90 degrees and roughly chop. Once that's done, just set it aside. Here is 1 kilo or 2.2 pounds of red Desiree potatoes. Grab yourself a peeler and take off the skin. For this soup, you can use whichever potatoes you have available to you, but if you can, definitely try to get red Desiree potatoes. They are both waxy and starchy, which helps them hold their shape and absorb so much flavour without breaking apart. With the peels, these will ruin a stock from the starch, so if you have one, put them into a compost bin. Slice the potatoes in half lengthways, then into quarters. Rotate the potato 90 degrees and slice them into even sized pieces. And if you can, try to make sure they're all the same size, this way they'll all cook at the same rate. When you have that done, just pop them aside. Here I have 10 leaves of fresh sage. Scrunch them together and give them a rough chop. If you don't like sage, this can be left out, but I do highly recommend it as it has fantastic flavour. Anyway, when your sage is chopped, just set it aside. Get yourself 8 rashers or 150 grams of streaky bacon. Slice each rasher into medium-sized strips. Rotate at 90 degrees and dice it into medium-sized pieces. Then once that's done, let's cook all this up. Place a large pot onto your stovetop over a high heat. Once hot, pour in 2 tablespoons or 30 milliliters of olive oil and add in that diced bacon. Give this a good stir and fry this off for 2.5 minutes or until the bacon is golden and has released its fat. When you can see that beautiful colour and a good amount of fat, add in the chopped sage. Mix that through and continue frying this off for a further 3 minutes or until the sage is crispy and the bacon is deeply golden brown. Once that's achieved, remove the pot from the stovetop and carefully place the bacon and sage into a bowl, leaving the bacon fat in the pot. Set the bacon and sage mix aside, place your pot back onto your stovetop over a high heat and add in the chopped onions into that delicious rendered bacon fat. Break the onion up and fry this off for 5 minutes or until lightly golden, translucent and just starting to caramelize. After 5 minutes and there's some nice colour onto the onions, tip in your chopped potatoes. Give that a good mix, coating the potatoes in all of that bacon fat. Then pour in 900 milliliters of save it for a stock vegetable stock, reserving 100 milliliters, just in case you want to add more. I'll also leave my recipe for my vegetable stock in the description below. Grab yourself 4 leaves of fresh sage, give them a rough tear and chuck them in. Then remember that garlic that we put in the oven earlier? Well, we're going to remove it from the oven now and unwrap it. Surprisingly, the foil doesn't actually get that hot even after being in the oven for 40 minutes, but that doesn't mean that you shouldn't be careful. Slice the garlic through the center to reveal those beautiful, soft and delicious cloves. What you then want to do is squeeze each half into the soup, and the flavour that this will bring off is absolutely amazing. It will add a subtle nutty flavour and a slight sweetness without the harshness of raw garlic. Once that's all in, give it a good stir and bring the soup to a boil. Once boiling, we're going to add in 3/4 of our bacon and sage mix. Their flavours will now slowly release into our soup, just increasing that flavour even more. And with the remaining quarter, just place it aside until the end. Give all of that a really good mix, reduce the heat to medium-low, and allow this to simmer away for 28 to 30 minutes, or until the potatoes are really soft and that stock has reduced by 25%. This has now been 30 minutes, our potatoes are extremely soft and that stock has reduced. Turn this off the heat and get your immersion blender on the ready and blitz this up until silky smooth. If you don't have an immersion blender, allow this to cool down for 25 to 30 minutes and put it into a regular blender. Just make sure you don't pour it into a blender whilst it's boiling hot, as this will cause the plastic to expand, crack and possibly explode, which will cause some serious damage. Once smooth, remove the blender. You can see now that this is nice and silky and fairly thick. We're now going to increase the flavour even further by adding half a cup or 125 milliliters of full fat thickened cream. Give that a really good mix, and if you don't want to add cream, you can substitute it for more vegetable stock. Once incorporated, pour in 1 cup or 250 milliliters of full fat milk, which also can be substituted for stock, and same again, just give that a good mix. And the reason we don't add both the cream and the milk at the same time is because we want to control the consistency. If we make this too thin, without starting over, we won't have a good soup. And the key to this is you can always add, but you can't take out. Once the cream and milk are in, give your soup a taste to check it for seasoning. I'm going to add in 2 teaspoons worth of cracked black pepper and half a teaspoon of sea salt flakes. Keeping in mind that there's bacon in this, which is fairly salty, give that one big final mix and remove it from the stovetop. We can then spoon the soup into our prepared bowls. Top it with a tablespoon of sour cream to slightly balance the richness. Drizzle over some full fat thickened cream. Sprinkle over that delicious crispy bacon and sage mix. And garnish it with some flat leaf parsley. To go alongside our soup, grab yourself a loaf of bread of your choice, slice as many pieces as you'd like. We can then toast this up, serve it alongside our delicious soup, and dig in. That is seriously so good. Right now it's freezing cold in Australia, and this is the perfect meal to warm yourself up. Its flavour is rich, creamy, smooth, slightly sweet, slightly salty. The crispy bacon and sage add great texture and flavour, and that sour cream really balances it all out. This recipe here serves 4 and can easily be doubled, tripled and so on. This will last 5 days in your fridge and can also be frozen for 6 months. I really hope you enjoyed this one. If you did, make sure you smash that like button and consider subscribing along with that bell notification to see hundreds of more fantastic recipes. Thanks for watching, stay safe and enjoy.